Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast. We are literally shaking right now. Today we have internet superstar Josh Seiter with us. We've played many a clip of his on our show. He has been misgendered, mispigmented, misspecied, misindiginated, and today we get to find out who he really is. So first things first, Josh, how have you been aggrieved today?
Today, nothing so far. I'm a little apprehensive because you guys are interviewing me, but I'm hoping that everything's okay and I don't have to get counseling for it. So we'll see how it goes.
It won't hurt. We won't hurt you. I promise. It won't be that painful. Like, okay, so you said that you're in Chicago. You're a Chicago guy.
Yeah, so I actually grew up, I grew up 2 hours south in a college town called Champaign-Urbana where the University of Illinois is, but I came to Chicago in 2010 for law school, actually, go figure, and I've been here for the last 15 years, so.
Okay, Chicago. I used to live in Roscoe Village, which is right near Wrigleyville.
I live two blocks from there, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, because I love it there. I don't think I live there now because I'm a little afraid of, like, how do you feel about the safety and the mayor and the government there and like all the leadership? How do you feel about that right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pritzker, he's a raging woke liberal. The thing, every day he's saying something that's utterly irrelevant and not germane to the issues that are facing Chicagoans. So he's talking about how homelessness is caused by racism and Trump's a fascist. Right. It's just like, dude, there's armed robberies, carjackings, homicides going on all the time. How about we address these issues? And all he does is virtue signal. And then Brandon Johnson's the mayor. And like Lori Lightfoot, all he does is virtue signal all the time. I mean, I'm sure, obviously, you ladies see it every day. You talk about it every day. You watch them being interviewed, any woke liberal, and it's like you're watching a clown show. So it's just nauseating listening to them. But where I'm at, just west of Wrigley, is nice. But there's parts of Chicago that are very dangerous. So
Yep.
God, I haven't heard the name Lori Lightfoot in a mercifully long time.
Don't say it 3 times because then it's like Beetlejuice. You know what I mean?
She looks like Beetlejuice, actually.
Right.
There's an eerie
totally
resemblance.
Does.
Yeah.
For real. So Josh, when you, I think most people got to know you and your work, not from like The Bachelor forever ago, but from your first major troll, which was transitioning to be a woman. And it was so effective for so long that genuinely I was like, is he serious? Like, I cannot really tell. And then finally you came out and I think it was with Alex Stein, you were finally like, this is a big fat troll and here's why I did it. How long did you actually keep that up for? And how much of your life did you dedicate to it off camera?
Well, yeah, great question. I mean, like any trans woman, I'm just trolling and cosplaying as a woman. So I was just a dude in makeup like the rest of them. And off camera, when I wasn't making posts, I was never, wearing these outfits or putting on lipstick. It would be like I would post maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And so for that 2-hour period when I was filming, I would put on the makeup. That would take like half an hour. And then I'd walk outside, usually in a heavy coat in the middle of Chicago summer, because unlike most trans women, I'm not a pervert, so I didn't want little kids seeing me like this. And then for the 2 minutes that I was filming a skit, I'd take the heavy coat off and do it. But other than that, I was only portraying that when I was on camera.
So how long did it last?
Yeah, how long?
It was 6 months until I did the Alex Stein reveal, yeah.
Oh my God.
Was that your plan all along, or was it kind of organic? Like, because you talk about being a lawyer, which I think that those are transferable skills, right? Because if you're really, honestly, because bear with me, because as a lawyer, you go in and you're obviously a good debater, right? Like you have a point you're trying to make, you can debate, you can argue a point. And I feel like that's kind of what you're doing here. Like you're over a 6-month period, you were trying to prove a point, and you did. You've proven a couple points, and I think people were duped. And so you proved your argument.
That's such a great question and great point. So I was doing exactly what a lawyer does. I was using reductio ad absurdum to say, look, if we take what these woke people are saying at face value, that men can magically become women when they cross-dress, then we have to accept Josh Seiter with a full beard, throwing on a dress and lipstick, and you must accept me as a woman because the medical guidelines say you don't have to transition, you don't need to get surgery, you simply need to self-identify as a woman. And that was the rule of law under Biden as well, not just the medical guidelines. And you are a woman. So I said, all right, let's do it then. Josh is a woman. You have to accept it. And I think their brains were short circuiting because they were seeing how ridiculous it was. So
yeah,
it was such a masterful troll on so many levels. And now, you're coming up with new ways to identify all the time, not just for you, but like for your fake baby and all of it. So how do you do that? Like at some point you've got to run out, right? Like there's got to be a finite amount of identifying that you can do. How do you come up with these things?
Well, that's a great question. It's something I do think about, but thankfully woke people are so dumb and what they believe is so stupid and unprincipled that I think I actually have an infinite amount of material thanks to them. So it will one day, I'll have to maybe do something else. But these people, it's such a clown show that it makes it so easy to mock them. And I think that's what needs to happen because they're actually hurting people. And we're seeing, what's going on with children and how they're brainwashing them. I think it's necessary that we mock them. I think they're deserving of derision, and I'm going to do it as long as I can until this stuff is out of our schools and kind of out of the popular nomenclature. I think that's very important.
Did this affect your personal life? Like, when you did this, because I would imagine there are some people that you're close to that were like, okay, I kind of know that he's doing this as a troll, but then there may have been people that you're just acquaintances with that are like, I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy. Or like, I mean, just personally, do people go, okay, because obviously you're kind of a right-minded guy. You're sort of, at least on this issue, I don't know where you stand politically, like just generally, but on this issue, you are conservative, it seems. So, I mean, are there people that look at you and go, okay, now we can't be friends anymore? Has this affected some of your relationships, just you doing this?
That's a great question. Luckily, everyone except liberals has a great sense of humor. So because none of my friends are liberals, they all thought it was hilarious. And some of them weren't sure if I was doing it in jest or if I was earnest about it. But they all have a sense of humor and they're like, look, if you're doing a joke, man, that's hilarious. If you're not, I totally support you, but whatever. So either way you cut it, everyone was kind of cool with it. But nobody knew that I was doing a troll other than my best friend and my brother. And so when people would ask me, I would just give them kind of an ambiguous answer. But the only people I think to get really angry about it, ironically, were woke liberals, which is funny because they made up the rules that I'm playing by. I'm just playing by their rules. So get mad at the science.
That's so interesting that the people on the right were the tolerant ones, right?
Surprise.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
But a lot of people were confused by it, to answer your question.
Yeah.
Close personal friends were like very confused. And then when I did the reveal, it all made sense. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and even still, like to this day, sometimes when we'll grab one of your recent videos to play to our audience, we can see the comments where people are like, that guy's just such a loser. Like they genuinely believe what you're saying. And we're like, no, it's parody. It's, he's being ironic. It's hilarious. He's awesome. And you should follow him. And here's why, because that's how effective what you're doing is. It is so believable. Right.
Yeah.
And so because so many people are confused and because you are a bit of a mystery, we wanted to try to peel the onion a little bit. I mean, if you search, like if you do a Google search on your name, you're going to read that you've been bisexual, gay, trans, black, a firefighter, a reality show contestant, a model, like all the things. A lawyer.
Uh-huh,
So who is the real Josh Seiter?
Yeah, a great question. I do think I'm kind of enigmatic to most of the public. So yeah, some of that stuff, most of what's on the internet is not true. Some of it is. I actually was a firefighter for a year. I was working at a volunteer fire department, which I think 70% of our nation's fire departments are volunteers. So I did that as a senior in college. I'm not bisexual. I'm not gay. Shocker, I'm not a woman. I hate to break it to you guys. And I'm not black. But if you follow the science, you might think I am. You might be confused. But I'm just, I grew up, I was homeschooled my whole life with the exception of 1 year in a small town in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. I went on to the University of Illinois and got a sociology degree, which kind of fueled my desire to do a social experiment. And then I went on and got my law degree. But most of what's online about me is fake. People I dated, allegedly dated, or how I identify. But I like to think of myself as a libertarian. I'm very inspired by William F. Buckley Jr., Thomas Sowell.
Yes.
I think that modern day, I think Charlie Kirk is great. I think what he's doing is great work. But I tend to lean libertarian conservative. But I would mostly describe myself as anti-woke. And so anything that is woke, I'm anti that. And that's kind of the impetus behind everything I do online. But I'm just a 38-year-old guy, I think, with a sense of humor, and I think it's resonating with a lot of people. So
I love that.
Without
So
question.
obviously your death was not real in 2023.
Wait, it
now
wasn't?
Liberals might be confused, but yes, I'm not dead. Shocker.
What was that? Seriously, how did that happen, Josh? What was that all about?
So my account got hacked and a statement was posted, and so it ended up just going insanely viral, and everyone was picking up on it saying I was dead, and then I got back into my account and had to announce that I was alive. But I see how, like, I'm always the subject of controversy, so I can see how people might be like, what is going on with this guy? But
Was it kind of, we were talking before we went on and like in pre-show here, and I was like, in a way, it'd be kind of cool, like if somebody said that you were dead, 'cause then you could see like who actually mourns you and who doesn't. Like you could, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's kind of like floating above your own funeral. So I wonder if you had that experience, like if you could see people online going, oh my God, I loved him so much. He was so great. Like if those are the people that
people that like you thought liked you who were like, I never liked that guy.
That guy was a jerk. I never liked him anyway. You know what I mean? Like, did you experience any of that?
Yeah, a little bit. I saw what people were saying, and it was actually mostly, compassionate, and I felt horrible that these people were going through these emotions and, like, seriously struggling with the fact that they thought I was dead. So I actually felt terrible about that. It's all kind of become, I think, part of, like, the lore that surrounds the craziness that is me. But I do feel bad for that, and I wouldn't want anyone to my dad died and my grandparents died all within the last few years, and so I understand death is very traumatic, and I do feel bad that all of that happened.
What a crazy thing that was. It was just so nuts.
That was absolutely
and it lives
bananas.
forever, right? It's on the internet forever. You're just like, can we just get that off of there? Yeah It's not.
Yeah, the internet does live forever. That's a great point,
right? Yeah.
I've seen in some of your more recent, I don't even know what to call them, like bits or skits. I don't even know what to call them, however you refer to them, though. And you're using a new acronym, which is bound to get people's feathers ruffled. So could you explain what NCEGGA stands for?
Oh my God, you be careful.
Yes.
I know. I'm trying to be super careful with that short E sound.
Yeah. NCEGGA is non-conforming to ethnic, gender, and gay assignments because the alphabet mafia wants a very tiny, just LGBTQIA+, but there's people that aren't gay and they don't subscribe to a certain gender, so I came up with NCEGGA so that there's people within the alphabet mafia that don't fit into traditional boxes, and for some reason people are getting all up in arms about it, but I don't invent the acronyms, so.
Right. I mean, it is what it is, Josh. You got to run with it, right?
I cannot get enough of all of this. Like, I love everything that you're doing so much.
I appreciate
Although I don't know about everything you're doing. For example, I I hear, you can confirm if it's true, that you're on OnlyFans.
Oh my gosh, are you?
Do you want to tell people like what kind of exclusive content they're getting out there?
Is it like Burt Reynolds content?
I don't have a big bushy. I think he had a big bushy mustache. Maybe I'm thinking of Tom Selleck. I think they both did.
Yeah, both of them did.
But it's not something I am on OnlyFans. I've been on it since 2018, when basically it had only been out for like a year. So that's 7 years. It's something that has provided me the ability to have financial independence and do what I do online, because if it weren't for that, I would be working probably a 9-to-5 job and I wouldn't be able to, do the skits and bits that I do. And so I'm very grateful to it, but it's not something that I brand myself with or ever promote. I've never once promoted it. I prefer
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine, but I'm not ashamed of it. I think anybody can do whatever they want, with their bodies, as long as it's not involving 6-year-olds like woke people want to do.
Right.
So
Right.
it's been very nice financially, and so that's why I keep it. But it's not something I'd like brand, I'm an OnlyFans model. I think that's so cringe when people kind of move forward with that first. It's a little
And it's like their number one thing.
Yeah, it's just weird. Why would you want to identify
Yeah.
as an OnlyFans model? So
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to the woke stuff, do you think that the pendulum is swinging the other? Because we went so far in the woke direction for so many years. Do you think it's swinging back the other way, that pendulum, because of people like you and just people getting sick of it and Trump getting elected? I mean, we think that there's a little bit of a resurgence in normalcy and like common sense. But I don't know. What do you think?
I absolutely do. And, I was talking with my mother, and she says oftentimes progressives or people who are self-described, liberals, they start off with a good idea, which is that they want to fix or remedy something. But inevitably, the pendulum always swings 1,000 miles too far the other way, and they end up just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know any better way to describe it, and they destroy everything they were trying to fix. And usually it's a small issue they're trying to fix. So the pendulum, I believe, is definitely swinging the other way, and I kind of felt that shift in ethos, I'd say, like in October of last year when Trump was gearing to get elected. I felt that the nation kind of just shifted between October and November. And by the time he took office in January of this year, I think everybody, as you said, is so over the woke nonsense and sees it for the clown show that it is. And so that's very reassuring, because for so many years, I think all of us felt like we're living in the Twilight Zone. Like, how do I live in a country where I can get censored on X for just stating a fact that someone finds offensive? Like, so I think it's a win for free speech, and I'm very grateful for it. I don't agree with everything that Trump does, but I think he has been an instrumental part in dismantling wokeness. And I do think wokeness is a disease. I think it's a cancer, and I think it's good that it's kind of, I think, on its last legs, to be honest. But if liberals want to keep leading with it, they're going to keep losing elections. So they can go ahead and keep being woke. They're going to keep losing. So
we also agree with that.
They've not learned a single lesson, just based on what we saw from the start of their DNC meeting yesterday. They're like starting out with the land acknowledgements and saying all the trans rights stuff. I mean, it's just, they've learned nothing, which I guess is good for us, right?
It's almost like a compulsion. It's almost compulsive on their part. I was talking actually to my therapist. He's an OCD specialist, and he said there's people that have OCD where they have to virtue signal all the time, and they get stuck in this. It becomes a lifestyle where you just can't stop. And watching Democrats talk, every other sentence is, about someone's color or orientation. It's nauseating, and I just don't think they can help themselves at this point.
Yeah.
So as you said, let them keep being compulsive virtue signalers. I don't think it's resonating with anyone anymore. So
we need therapists who specialize in TDS. That's what we need. I hope that therapists out there are paying attention and they're like, see a need, fill a need.
It's a cottage industry, and there's, I think, millions of people that suffer from it. Occasionally I'll listen to like NPR or something, and, they'll interview a musical artist, and all they talk about is how they're, Black, queer, fat, disabled, and had no opportunity in America. It's like, aren't you here to talk about your music? Like, why are you talking?
Yeah.
Like, It's just nauseating.
Yep.
So you've got just a massive following across social media platforms, which means that you're quite likely accustomed to what we're accustomed to with much smaller followings, and that is hate online and threats online because of your ideology. So what can you give us an example of, maybe some of the most outrageous, scary even, kind of hate that you've received online?
Yeah, so right after I did the trans troll, it ended in October, and a few weeks later, someone reached out to me identifying themselves as working for the Daily Wire. They had contracts and ID cards that were Bent Key Productions, which is the film company that works for Daily Wire, and they said they wanted to do a little mini doc on me, which wasn't far-fetched because Tim Pool had just done a mini doc on me, and I was being interviewed like every day by Fox and all these other outlets. So I was like, oh, cool. Daily Wire wants to do it. Well, it turns out this was a YouTuber who was very liberal, and he had forged and stolen contracts from the Daily Wire and then inserted his own name, blacked out someone else's name, put his in. So he sent me forged contracts and then got my address to film and sent over a film crew, which I'm assuming were just two freelance videographers that he hired. And they filmed me. And then after the film was put out, he revealed that it was all a prank and how stupid is Josh Seiter. So actually Daily Wire, last time I talked to their chief legal counsel, is suing him. So
oh my
gosh,
that is
good.
insane.
Yeah.
But that
Wow.
that is what psychotic losers to do that.
And all because I
mean-
said men aren't women. Like, so you send a film crew to my house because I don't think men are women. Like, it's weird.
It goes back to the whole, like, they are the ones who really need therapists. Like, this is it is a sickness. It's crazy that they would go through all that time and the money and the effort to do that, like, just to go and find out where Josh Seiter lives. We gotta.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's an
insane.
obsession, and it's funny how they say that conservatives are obsessed with trans people, and it's like, well, you wouldn't say cops are obsessed with criminals or cops are obsessed with pedos. So when you have a cult that is constantly trying to brainwash and recruit children, people are going to speak out against it, and that doesn't make them obsessed. They are the obsessed ones, and we are simply trying to defend women and children. And so, yes, these people are hyper obsessive, and like you said, they need counseling. So
Right. They're always on the wrong side of stuff, It's like, we talk about it a lot on our show, where it's like they want to defend the worst of the worst, and they just they will die on those hills, and it's insane to me.
yeah, even
is
just
insane.
watching them defend illegal immigrants and violent criminals, it's
criminals,
just so
yeah.
weird.
They're pro-crime. It's
Yeah.
so bizarre that this is the hill that they're dying on, but that's, I guess, I hope they keep doing it because I think it helps our side look like we're the reasonable, practical ones, which is
Because
of course,
we are.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, because we are.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's very funny because the liberals throughout the 90s and early 2000s always described Christians, conservative Christians, as the morality police, and said the religious right were nothing but a bunch of morality police that want to tell you how to live, tell you how you can talk. And now the woke left has become the very same morality police that they used to decry in the 90s by telling everyone how they need to live, how they need to talk, how they need to act. And when people, I just think it's interesting that they have become the very thing they have hated, which is this very controlling dictatorial cult.
Yes.
And so
Only they're doing it on a platform of immorality, which is so messed up to me. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like sometimes that conservatives now are like the liberals of 1990.
yes, I think the
It's-
sides
you know
have
what I mean?
switched. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
real.
we're anti-war, they're pro-war. I mean, everything is so flip-flopped. It's just bizarre. If you've been around long enough, and we are old, like we've seen some things. And so, because I know you're a millennial, we're Gen Xers. And so we've seen some stuff, and we're like, this is really weird. Because like the liberals that we used to know are not, the liberalism is completely changed. It's just now they're just they're just commies now. They're just flat out commies, and they love it, and they embrace communism. They should just say that's what they are.
They're
Just be
starting
honest
to.
about it. Yeah, they are starting to.
Even their
Yeah.
own people, like there's people that are self-described normal gays and lesbians who are utterly sick of the LGBTQ cult.
Totally.
And they're constantly saying, this is not what we fought for in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You people
Right.
represent the opposite. We don't want to be boiled down to our sexuality or our skin color. So even their own base is calling them out, and the woke always eat their own, so it always becomes
Yeah.
so
Totally.
radical that they eat their own. And there's a snake that does it too. It's eluding my mind right now. I think it's I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, they're just inherent in them is the tendency to eat their own. And so I think that's the downfall of the left, and it's just going to keep resulting in Republicans getting elected to office. So
Yep. Agreed.
Well, we are huge fans of your work. We're going to continue to share clips with our audience as often as you put them out. And in the meantime, if there, for some reason, is somebody watching right now who has not heard of you or your work before, where is the best place that they can find you?
So, great question. Most of my stuff is on Instagram. I'm not a huge poster on X. It's not my preferred platform. So, Instagram's where almost everything is at. And yeah, all the videos are up. So, I hope everybody enjoys them.
And it's at Josh Seiter?
It's so at Josh_Seiter_official.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're
it's been a
welcome. Thank
pleasure
you for
meeting
having
you.
me. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.